American actor Johnny Depp lost a libel suit he filed in London, suing the newspaper The Sun for running an article that called him a wife-beater, a reference to his relationship with ex-wife Amber Heard. It was an ugly case, dragging both actors' private lives into the spotlight, and it was a complicated case. Each accused the other of abuse, but there was a clear winner, other than the tabloid paper Domestic Violence Victims. Amber Heard didn't write op-ed accusing Johnny Depp of domestic violence. Johnny Depp may have lost his libel case against UK paper The Sun for labeling him a wife-beater, but the fight to clear his name is far from over. In the US, he is suing ex-wife Amber Heard directly for defamation. At the center of the lawsuit is the Aquaman star's 2018 Washington Post ad in which she described an abusive relationship, as well as the retaliation against her after the divorce. While the essay never mentioned the ex by name, it is pretty obvious who she's talking about, and Johnny is claiming he did not commit the acts of domestic violence she described. That would indeed make the op-ed defamatory if he can prove his innocence. To that end, he and his legal team are trying everything to find any evidence that might exculpate the Pirates of the Caribbean star or to prove Amber is lying. Thus far, we've heard audio in which Amber admits to hitting Johnny and taunts him that no one will believe him. We've heard from a woman calling Amber listened to their stories of assault and that some of her story was especially similar to theirs. But this is definitely one of the biggest bombshells so far, that powerful personal essay where Amber talks about the trauma she faced after speaking up about her abuse. She may not have written it. Okay, so remember that charitable donation Amber had said she'd make $7 million to Children's Hospital LA and the ACLU or American Civil Liberties Union. Johnny's team believes those donations were never actually made after the Children's Hospital claimed they never got their promised funds. So he's now suing the ACLU to find out if she really did donate the money to them or if her billionaire ex Elon Musk did instead. And according to uncovered emails from the organization shown dailymail.com, it seems the op-ed was not Amber's idea. The ACLU appointed the actress as an ambassador on women's rights in 2018. According to the emails, someone on staff came up with the idea of having her write a huge op-ed about the experience of survivors of the gender-based violence as a way to hit back at destructive new laws rolling back protection for victims. Ultimately, the op-ed entitled "I Spoke Up Against Sexual Violence and Face Our Culture's Wrath That Has to Change" was reportedly written by an ACLU staffer named Robin Schulman, who is one email to Amber talked about trying to capture her fire and rage and a peace offering. We can't believe she really didn't write that op-ed in her own legal filings. Amber actually references this point, saying she wrote it with the assistance and advice of others, though at this point it seems like someone else wrote it with the assistance and advice of Heard and her lawyers. Still, she says the op-ed speaks for itself and affirms her claims of domestic abuse are true and therefore not defamation. First, the facts. Depp and Heard met when she was just 22, and he was 45-year-old father of two living with his longtime partner Vanessa Paradis. A few years later, Depp and Heard married and soon divorced. Just before the divorce, Heard filed for a restraining order, and photographers captured the mark on her face as she walked in and out of the Los Angeles court. Heard's allegations that Depp had physically and verbally abused her while using drugs and alcohol were soon widely publicized. Depp has always denied them, saying that in reality, Heard had abused him. Second, the law. British libel law works differently from the American version. In short, in the United States, the burden of proof for libel is on the person claiming to have been libeled. That is, the plaintiff has to demonstrate that what was written is false, at least in cases involving matters of public concern. In the United Kingdom, the burden of proof is on the party accused of libel. That is, the Sun had to prove that what is published about Depp was true. A judge held that it had met that burden, and that 12 of 14 of Heard's accusations of abuse met the threshold for truth in civil court. Depp's attorneys say they plan to appeal. Depp is also suing Heard for defamation in a U.S. court after she published an op-ed in the Washington Post identifying herself as a survivor of sexual and physical violence. Depp isn't just the loser here, legally. He has also clearly lost the plot. The whole goal of his lawsuit was ostensibly to rehabilitate his reputation. And certainly if Depp is telling the truth, and lots of fans who gathered outside the courthouse are tweeting #Justice for Johnny Depp believe he is the real victim here, one can understand why he would want to clear his name. But filing multiple lawsuits, Depp is only prolonging and expanding the coverage, reminding people of it and bringing it to new people's attention. He's not rehabilitating his reputation, he is further tarnishing it. And whether Depp is telling the truth or not, and a court of law just held that Heard is the truthful one here. Libel law goes beyond just these two people or even the right of tabloids to publish whatever they want about celebrities with little fear of reprisal. Under British law, people can sue for libel and win if the people or entities they are suing can prove that the claims they made were true. In both the US and the UK, abusers with resources can always threaten libel suits. Even if they lose, they may very well have drained the victims of their money and resolve. This is a real barrier for survivors of intimate partner violence who often go to great lengths to hide the abuse they are suffering and don't typically carefully document every incident. Intimate partner violence remains underreported, stigmatized, and often still in the shadows. The barriers to coming forward are already high, and most women who suffer violence from loved ones never speak out publicly. For abuse victims, the threat of a lawsuit, especially if the abuser has the resources to sue, can be yet another muzzle. Obviously, there are costs for the falsely accused too. Having a damaging falsity spread about you is no small inconvenience, especially for those who have millions in the bank to fall back on. But filing a lawsuit and proving significant damage is an uphill battle, especially in the United States, where average people need to prove that what was said about them is false. The American system lets more speech stand, and it gives survivors more leeway to speak out. But that has costs too. After all, most defamation cases aren't about domestic violence, but are about other damaging allegedly false claims.